Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.
And I listen to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Indeed, you are, people who listen to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Welcome back to another episode, another edition. My name is Mashal St. Patrick, here at one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. And with me as ever is my partner in crime, Santoki Nagilendran. Santoki, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm a good Mash. And you know, in the last test West Indies played against South Africa, in that fourth innings chase of 247, there was a period, Mash, where we started to believe West Indies could do this. And it was all down to one player's batting performance, Mash. And we've got that player on today. So do you want to introduce to the people who have we got on today as a special guest on the show?
Of course. Yes, following his fine 78, dashing 78, to make us stay up and ensure we watch the test match to the very end. It is, of course, Jamaica's own Jermaine Blackwood. We're excited to have him on. It's probably somebody we've been wanting to get on the show for a while, to be fair, but things have transpired to make it happen now. So without any further ado, let me, of course, bring on the man of the hour himself, Mr. Jermaine Blackwood. Yes, Jermaine, how you doing?
Good man.
Yes,
good so far.
You heard Santoki give you the intro of the 78. So you know we have to start there. We have to go straight to the most recent thing that's gone on in the last test match. I mean, I say tell us, but you're also kind of speaking to West Indian fans at the same time. On a pitch where only you and Aidan Markram scored fluently, what was the key to that innings that you constructed?
I mean, well, the key for me was to just watch the ball as long as possible and try to play each ball and its merit. And whenever, I get a bad ball, I try to score. And don't really let the bowler settle too much, because on a wicket like that, I mean, a ball going to come with your name, because, some ball was swinging, some ball was seaming, some ball was up and down. So, just tell myself that, once the ball come in my scoring area, I'm going to score and try to put back some pressure on the bowlers.
Did you feel you talk about putting pressure back on the bowlers, and to be fair, I'd say that's very much something that's a mark of your batting in general, that you like to counter-attack and put pressure back on the bowlers where you can. In that particular innings, did it lead to, or did you feel whilst out there that it almost took the bowlers off their normal line and length? Like, did you sense that the bowlers were searching for a wicket against you because what had worked for other batters wasn't working against you?
Yeah, for sure. They were really trying hard to get me out, because they know, at the time, I was the one who was really scoring very easily at the time, and I was looking to put pressure on them. So they was looking to get me out. So they was trying everything to get me out, and Roberto just gave me a special one. That was very unfortunate for me.
We talked. Temba Bavuma talked about before the test Brian Lara being his cricketing hero, and obviously Lara's joined up with the side this year as a performance mentor. Kind of, what effect has he had on the team and you and yourself in particular so far?
I mean, it's only good effect. When I started 2014, Brian Lara gave me my test cap in Queen's Park, Trinidad. So, I mean, we have a nice relationship from then, and obviously to have him around here now, with the team, it's very good, because he's a very positive guy, and he only bring one thing to the setup, and his only positiveness. Everybody just picking his brain and just trying to learn as much as we can, and he's a guy. He's not going to tell you nothing negative. He always telling the guys things positive and what to do. Even when I was going out to bat, he was like, Jermaine, just remember that innings you play against England in 2020, when you go out there and you just play your game. So he always telling me to go out there and just express myself, and because once I go out there and express myself, the team is going to benefit.
Is that something, expressing yourself and playing your natural game, is that something the head coach, Andre Coley, someone who you've known, I read somewhere you said you've known him since you were 12 years old, is that also something he reiterates to you when you're going out to bat?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he don't have to tell me, because I know. I know Andre Coley from I was about 12 years old. Yeah, so he was my coach from back then until now. So we have a very good relationship, and he knows me. So I mean, he don't have to tell me too much. If you see some little stuff that I'm not doing, he would just come and just tell me a little thing there and there. But he always just tell me to just play my game. He always tell me to back myself, back my ability, and just go out there and play my game. So I have the full support from the coaching staff and the captain as well, to just go out there and express myself.
Jermaine, I think to viewers of that first test match, Santoki and I will give our opinion. We felt that there actually wasn't that much between the two sides. I know on paper it says South Africa win by 87 runs, but you take away the kind of opening morning partnership that Markram and Elgar put on in the game. You could argue that from the minute that from the minute the first wicket fell for South Africa, actually there was nothing between the two sides from that point onwards. Was that something that you felt in the dressing room as well? Like, do you come away from that kind of defeat and say, actually, we're the match of this side, they're no major world beater in comparison to ourselves?
Yeah, for sure. We know as a team that we can beat South Africa, but we just have to put up more fight. We see that once we get out, the top 3 or top 4 batters, we really can get into their batting. So I mean, we know that even before we came here. So I mean, it's just we as a team now just have to go back to the drawing board and go back and learn from this game, the way how we bowl and the way how we batted, and so we can put on a very a much better performance in the next game, because I think once we go out there and just play our game and just stick to the basic, I think we can win the next game on Saturday and Wednesday.
And
Santoki, before you come in though, I just want to ask Jermaine one thing. Jermaine, I've lost count of the number of people that have said, so like when we tweet updates or whatever we do from a particular match, sometimes we'll call you Blackwood, sometimes we'll call you Jermaine, sometimes we'll call you Dadz. But whenever we put Dadz, people say, why are you calling him Dadz for? Now I can see the chain. I can see the Dadz chain around your neck. So just clear it up for the people. Why are you actually called Dadz?
I mean, my oldest brother gave me that name from I was small. He just called me Dadz because he thinks I'm the man for the family, because I'm the youngest one as well. So he always look at me like I'm the man of the family. So he just called me Dadz, and from that day, everybody been calling me Dadz who actually know me.
Thank you, Jim. That's now officially cleared up for everyone to know. Santoki, go.
And also, you're also vice captain of the side as well. What's it like working with Craig in terms of captaincy, in terms of tactical abilities, and kind of looking at the game from that perspective as a vice captain?
Well, I would say Craig is a excellent captain, excellent leader. He's a great leader, and he's doing something special for the entire cricket in general. But I mean, I know Craig from a long time as well. From like I was about 13, 14. We played together in the first regional under 15 tournament, and from then we became friends. So I'm very happy now to be next to him, captain and vice captain. So we always talk about cricket and other stuff. But I mean, he's a very good listener, what I could say. But he's a very great captain, to be honest. I think he's gonna go down as one of the best captains. But it's just we as players don't have to just support him and just win games. So that can show going forward.
Lovely. I was doing some research on you earlier on, Jermaine, and because I was like, because my family live in Mandeville, and so I was doing some research on you, and I was like, Jermaine must be a country boy, but I couldn't remember where you'd grown up. So I saw that you were in Westmoreland, but then I saw that you went to school in Christiana. So I said, okay. So, but what was intriguing? What was intriguing to me when I saw that is, and I think it will help some of the listeners and viewers of this show, is I know obviously you came up through Jamaica age group and then eventually you get to the senior side, you do the trials, but just, I mean, it's what, nearly 15 years ago now for you, but what is the general pathway? If you just explain for people the pathway of how you go from school cricket through to senior trials, etc. How did your pathway go?
I mean, it's pretty similar like how you laid it out there. I came up through the national under 15, then I played under 17 for Jamaica, then I played under 19 for Jamaica, then I played West Indies under 19, then straight after I finished West Indies under 19, I go straight into the Jamaica senior team setup, and I didn't quite make the team that year. The first year that I went to trials, but I scored a lot of runs in that trials, and the next year I made my debut, but for Jamaica. But it wasn't easy, to be honest. It wasn't easy. It was very hard for me really to get into Jamaica team. And even when I get into Jamaica team, it wasn't easy as well as a little young country guy, But I mean, I'm a tough guy, so I ride out the waves and believe in myself and just play my game, and it got me here, and I don't think I want to leave here no time soon until I'm ready to retire.
So what are you saying? 10 more years?
I would love that.
Yeah, so you made your debut for Jamaica in 2012. I think you came in for a game against Guyana. Sort of in those early days for Jamaica, I know you played alongside Bonner, John Campbell, Nikita Miller was there. Who were sort of the people who sort of shaped you and helped you develop your game while you were playing regional cricket?
I mean, when I started, I would say Odeem Brown. Odeem Brown took me under his wings when I left under 19 and come straight into the senior setup. Odeem Brown took me into his wings, and I was around Odeem Brown, and then I was around Andre Russell as well, because Odeem Brown did have Andre Russell under his wings. So we became very close, and then Kennar Lewis as well joined up there. So the four of us was very close. And then now in the team, at that time, Marlon Samuels was coming back. So Marlon Samuels used to tell me a lot of, good stuff as well. And Chris Gale as well. Chris Gale did really took me on his wings at that time, because he used to give me gears and stuff to play. And, he did see something special in me. I didn't really see it, but he did see that from a young age. So I would say those guys, and Andrew Richardson as well.
Just talking about gears there, actually, Jermaine, because I think some listeners will be like, what do you mean he gave you gears? And I think this might be part of the kind of disparities that people might not recognize depending on which country they grew up in and their cricket, etc. So if you're coming up through the game let's just take Jamaica as the example, how expensive are the gears, for example? Because cricket's not a cheap sport.
Man, it's very expensive, man. But I can't tell when last I actually buy a cricket equipment, because I have sponsors.
Big sponsorship,
I say big sponsorship, but I'm very fortunate to have a good sponsorship. But I mean, it's pretty expensive. I think. I mean, one of my bats, I think, probably costs anywhere to 350 to 400 US. So it's not easy. So that's why. Anytime, I'm home, I always like to give away stuff and give youngsters stuff. So, at least, I mean, I'm not being selfish. Whenever I have stuff, I always give back to my to any youngsters that I see, have talent and who want to play, and are my friends who's playing. I normally give them stuff because I know gears is not easy to come by.
Yeah, I hear you. The season, because obviously, as Santoki says, you made your debut 2014, and but what I think when you initially lost your place, it was like I think around 2017, I think after Zimbabwe.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, after Zimbabwe. Before we come round to your kind of second goal in the West Indies side, how did you? What are your looking back now? What are your reflections on that first 3 years within the West Indies side? Because it wasn't like you didn't adapt to the level. Obviously, Test match centuries, Test match 50s, etc. Do you see now where your game is at now? Do you think there's just been a natural evolvement of your game, or actually, do you think the fundamentals of who you were as a batter in 2014, 2017, actually they're still there? You've just refined it ever so slightly.
Yeah, exactly. I think I refined it, to be honest. But the first 3 years, I mean, as a young player, I always dream about playing for West Indies, and actually really getting the chance to play for West Indies. I always want to do good. But at that time, I was very raw in terms of the way I was playing. I was just looking at it one way, and just to go out there and just beat the ball, smash the ball all over the place, and just that was just me when I started out. So, but I would say it's actually good that I get that job for that 2.5 period. So it really teach me a lot in between, to find back myself and just to get learn a bit more stuff about myself and how I really want to play, and study a bit more, how I really want to score and all those stuff. So I mean, that 2.5 year really helped me for sure when I get back in 2020 in the team.
During that period you played, 2014 to 2017, pretty quickly, Gale, Chanderpaul, Marlon Samuels, Ramdin, they all sort of left the West Indies setup. Do you feel then that there was more expectation on you to sort of fill the gap because of the lack of experience, like there was more pressure on you? Or do you think that helped your game in terms of you had to step up because the senior players were going so quickly?
Yeah, I think, that helped my game, but it was very good to play with, some of those senior players. But I know, as a player, you can't play for your entire life. So we did expect, players have to leave because, they're getting into age and all that. So you'd have to expect myself or a few other players to step up and try to fill, that gap. But I tried my best at that time. But even when I got dropped, I think my average was about 30 at that time when I get dropped. But I think I should have been doing better as well, because I think I should have converted few of those half centuries into centuries. But as I said, at that time I was very raw, so I wasn't really thinking about that. I was just thinking about just go out there and smash the ball all over the place. So right now I'm thinking much different.
Jermaine, it's funny to me though, because people have often said that in that first 3 years you were trying to smash the ball everywhere, but now you're actually admitting that you were trying to smash the ball. You're trying to smash the ball everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. But even though I'm still doing it, but I'm just being selective and just picking the right ball. Yeah.
And actually, as you said, you talk about those 2.5 years, the big season that effectively got you back into the side, and in fact, actually before that, you had that concussion sub replacement. I think there was a test match against injured
in Jamaica.
And they called you in as a concussion sub. But when you actually got your goal again, was off the back of the 2020
regional,
the regional season where you ended up the top scorer. I think you were top scorer. Bonner was in the top 5. Mayers was in the top 5. In fact, I think Josh was in the top 5 that season, etc. So everyone who's now in the team effectively did well that season. What was because that wasn't your first good regional season. I think if people check your numbers, you've had plenty of good regional seasons. So, but what was the difference with that particular regional season for you?
To be honest, every year I normally score runs in regionals, but I think that year, I tell myself that I really have to get back into the West Indies setup. And you know, prior to that game that I, scored that double century against Leeward Islands in Antigua, I think I did have a like about 3 to 4 half centuries already, some 80s, 90s already, and then that game against Leewards, I scored a double century, and everything just, was just moving pretty smooth from there on.
And was that a case of? So was it a case of you got that score, and at that point, then you just feel like, you know what, I'm indestructible almost. I my game is at the best it can be, or was it that you had established whether technical changes or whatever it might be, and you said, I'm applying that to this particular season, or was it purely the determination of I am getting back into the West Indies team this year?
I mean, I put in a lot of work before the season as well. Me and Andrew Russell. Andrew Russell's like my big brother, so we work a lot together. So in that year, I tell myself that I'm gonna change up the way how I prepare or how I train. So yeah, I used to train like 1 time a day. So I said, all right, cool. I was gonna train like 2 to 3 times a day now, but even more about and stuff, and go to the gym 2 times a day. And just to see how it goes, and I mean to actually see, pays off. I was like, okay, this is something maybe I need to continue doing, because anytime I put in a lot of work before playing cricket, I normally score runs. So I say, okay, all right, I'm gonna just make that be a habit. Whenever I have any tour coming up, I know I have to put in a lot of work. So that is what I've been doing. Even now, before this tour, or even before Zimbabwe, I was doing a lot of work home, physical. Was working with you and Blake. Lot of sprinting just to get back in shape, because I was playing CP and I wasn't playing too much games. So they put on a little bit weight. So I just message Yuan, because Yuan is my friend, and I tell him that, bro, I'm coming to train with you. But I never know that track and field was so hard, man. Yeah. Hey, listen, that thing is different. But yeah, you and Blake get me into shape. Him and Mr. Ferran get me into shape before I actually come to Zimbabwe and here. So I actually see, I can see the result of that hard work that I put in before paying off now a little bit. Hopefully it can continue.
Listen, Jermaine, I'm in Jamaica this summer, so let me buck you, Dre Russ, Johan Blake as well. Come, because I'm looking for a West Indies call up. So bring me into the training.
You've talked earlier about being able to, your ability to smash the ball, and you mentioned CPL there. Has it come as a surprise to you that a lot of fans will say, oh, Jermaine Blackwood hasn't played as much T20 cricket as we would expect a player with his style? You played 28 T20 games in your career. Have you chosen to focus more on red ball cricket? Is that why, or has it been a surprise that you haven't got more opportunities playing T20 cricket?
Man, I would love to play T20s. I just haven't get picked, so I can't really do nothing about that. But I mean, that is one of my actual, goals, to play more T20s. But to like bat up top, like opener number 3 there is more suited for me, because I'm not one of those big guys who can, like Andrew Russell and them, or Caramels, who can just smash the ball out to the park. I have to go out there, make use of the power play, and then can pick it up. But I mean, that is always my dream, to play T20s for West Indies, and also play some more ODIs cricket for West Indies. I was really looking forward to be in this squad in this tour, but I mean, unfortunately, I didn't get selected because I was in the last squad. But I mean, I can't do nothing about that.
Go try get that CPL call up for next year and smash the ball out of the park,
Yes, hopefully.
But Jermaine, you haven't actually touched on your off spin, and the thing is, when you were coming through the game initially, wouldn't you have said you were a bowler before you were a batter? So, and the only reason I ask you that is every now and again, say like whoever we're playing are like, I don't know, 400 for 3 or something like that. I've often thought, throw Jermaine the ball. He can bowl, you know. So how come, what's happened with the bowling? Have you just put it on the back burner, or are you still somebody who thinks you can do bits and pieces?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few test wickets. I still consider myself as a half spinner, because when I started playing, I started out as a spinner as well. I take a lot of wickets for Jamaica and 19. I take a few for the senior team as well. But I mean, you know, I just shifted and start focus more on my batting. And I don't really work too much on my bowling. But for the past, few series, I've been working hard and, bowling a lot more in the nets. And, actually, like, it can be a next thing for the captain, I can come in and bowl a few overs if he need me.
So who's the better spin bowler, you or Craig Brathwaite?
I mean, I would say Craig, because he has more test wicket than me, but I think he bowled more than me as well. So, but it's rough, but I will give him the edge. I will give him the edge.
Listen, next time we tour India, Jermaine's coming up with a fifer, Get ready.
I love that.
Listen, Santoki, should we do the key questions?
Yeah, Jermaine. So thank you for your time so far. Before you go, there's one question we ask all guests that come onto the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. It's a big question. So, Machel, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, Jermaine. So we're going to split it up into 3 actually, and these were some of the most popular questions that people submitted as well. First things first, what's the best ground to play cricket in the Caribbean? And you're not allowed to say Sabina Park.
Okay, Kensington Oval, Barbados.
Why?
Because to be honest, I love playing at Kensington. I have a few first class centuries there. I have list A centuries there, and I have test centuries there. And also my son is from Barbados, so I love playing in Kensington.
Excellent. Who's the best bowler you have faced, whether within the region or outside of the region?
I would say one, Philander is one, Dale Steyn is one. I would say Josh Hazelwood is one. Spinner, Nathan Lyon and Ashwin.
And then the next question then. Well, actually, you probably don't. Who's the best player, because you may pick a bowler, who's the best player that you have played with in your career where you look at them and go, you know what, this person is phenomenal at what they do?
I would say Chris Gayle, man. Chris Gayle is just he's different. He's a different breed. That guy can just don't even train and just go out there and smash 100. So he's special.
And Santoki, I had one last question that was submitted, which is not our usual question, but I have to ask Jermaine because he's from Jamaica. So Jermaine, if you're in the off season and you go to your favorite restaurant, what is your go-to food? What are you ordering and saying, yes, that's me for the day right now?
My go-to food. Well,
what's the food you're ordering and then you're slumped and you're going to sleep?
Well, I'm gonna tell you. Well, my restaurant that I goes to is Russell's T20. That's Andrew Russell restaurant in Kingston. Most of the time when I order, I normally order jerk chicken with mashed potato. But my favorite is, I don't eat it there. My favorite is like ackee and saltfish. Any day, any time of the day, anytime.
What though? With hard food? What do you do?
Man, ackee and saltfish with yam, dumpling, banana, fried plantain. Yeah, any time of the day, any time of the week, me eat that. Anytime. My favorite.
See, that's why you had to go with Johan Blake and run off the weight.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, Jermaine, I'm gonna let Santoki end the show, but thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jermaine, for coming on. Thank you so much for giving up some time of your Sunday afternoon to talk to us, and all the best for the second test against South Africa.
All right. Thank you, bro.
No problem. Thank you, Jermaine. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Jermaine Blackwood. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening in again. You know how we do in the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. We always love to have those exclusive interviews and chop it up with West Indies players, whether they're under 19s, boys, girls, women's, men, etc. As ever, stay locked in to all content from the Caribbean Cricket Podcast channels, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, Facebook, everything and everywhere, people. Thanks as ever, and stay tuned and stay locked.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rules seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.